In this WrestleTalk news, AEW takes a shot at Cody Rhodes, everything changes over at Ring of Honor, Via speaks, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos, otherwise, The Undertaker is going to think you're soft. Ain't that right, Taker? Let's get some open blades in this locker room.
Support WrestleTalk!
On his appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast last year, The Undertaker lamented the current generation of professional wrestlers, calling WWE a little soft and getting nostalgic for the time when he came up in the business. Half of them had guns and knives in their bags. Shit got handled back then, you know? Now you walk in, there's guys playing video games and fucking making sure they look pretty. Arn Anderson still has a gun. And now, over a year later, in an interview with Joe Rogan's British doppelganger, the true Geordie, the dead man kind of clarified those comments, saying he doesn't think either culture is better or worse, just that they are different. Though I think I kind of prefer the working environment without the guns and knives. And if things got heated, if there was a disagreement, they go in the shower, and that's where everything got handled. They had sex? The dead man did greatly praise WWE's focus on health, with doctors and trainers traveling with the promotion, calling it one of the greatest evolutions in our business. That you don't have to keep working hurt out of fear of losing your spot. But he did point out that, naturally, that has a trade-off. The people aren't as desperately hungry to succeed, saying a level of grit is missing from today's product. Remember, it's not mutually exclusive to have enormous respect for The Undertaker, and also mindful of the fact he came up in a very different, using his words, time. It's unfair to wholly judge periods of the past on the morals of the present. Not that Joey Janela cares, tweeting, "I 100% agree, Mark. Lots of lame Marvel geek talk in these locker rooms. If I ever open up a wrestling school, before you have your first match, you're gonna have to get in at least 2 bar fights with proof. By the way, the Avengers movies suck." Janela has revealed he will not be renewing his AEW contract when it expires in May. Yet, the latest name this year to choose the Indies or WWE over Tony Khan's once big happy family. And now we've had the most obvious shot yet from AEW's executive team against their biggest defection. With the Wrestling Observer, Fightful, and now PW Insider over the weekend all reporting that Cody Rhodes has indeed signed with WWE, where he'll likely be making his return against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. A few fans have trawled through old Cody interviews to look for clues, and the Daily Accolade have posted a Cody quote that got a direct reaction from Kenny Omega and Matt Jackson. During his appearance on the AEW Unrestricted podcast back in 2020, Cody said, "I want to stay an executive vice president of All Elite Wrestling, and I've told Tony this until I die. This is the end of my road. I can't necessarily go back. The others can change their minds. I really can't." By the others, you presume he's referring to his then fellow AEW executive vice presidents, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, who all helped Tony Khan found the promotion in early 2019. And 2 of those, Kenny and Matt Jackson, have liked this Instagram post with their official accounts. Card subject to change, brother. It does make you question even more though, what did change in the last year and a half for Cody to go from "I am with AEW until I die" to leaving for the promotion he thought he could never return to? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Luckily for Tony Khan, he's got a 1 in, 1 out approach to talent. Cody leaves, so he buys a whole goddamn promotion. You're meant to be focusing your attention, Tony, focusing it. After announcing he bought a new toy, the 20-year-old wrestling promotion Ring of Honor, on the Revolution Go Home episode of Dynamite, Khan has now started building anticipation for the company's return from hiatus with their Supercard of Honor show on WrestleMania weekend. "I promise to work hard to make ROH Supercard a great pay-per-view and the show to carry on the incredible 20-year legacy of Ring of Honor. I'll continue to make announcements on the card. I might even have a trick up my sleeve, which I would not announce." The trick, considering Tony's recent track record, could be absolutely anything from a minor streaming deal for ROH to Triple H showing up and winning the belts off Jonathan Gresham and Bandido. As for the card so far, in addition to Gresham versus Bandido to create an undisputed ROH world title and appearances from Ninja Mac and Joe Hendry, it's been announced Lee Moriarty will wrestle Jay Lethal, Alex Zane will wrestle Swerve Strickland, and in the long-awaited tag title match, the Briscoes will take on FTR. With the amount of AEW contracted talent now on the card, it implies a lot of former Ring of Honor wrestlers will not be used going forward. An impression Fightful has confirmed, writing, "There are numerous former ROH names who are hopeful that they'd be brought back for the ROH reboot. However, many have since had no contact with new ROH management. Those that we've spoken to should be operating on the assumption that they won't be brought into the new company if they don't currently have a deal. But that could change." Going back to FTR versus the Briscoes, this was a match first set up back in December at ROH's last pay-per-view, Final Battle, months before Khan had actually bought the promotion. It's a long-running dream match that both teams have actively been building on social media, and it was always a hoped-for plan from ROH's long-term booker, Delirious. But the Briscoes come with a fair bit of baggage, with Jay Briscoe tweeting back in 2013, "I'll shoot you if schools tried to teach his kids about same-sex couples getting married." Jay has apologized for those posts, but the history seems to have created a lot of ups and downs. Simon Miller to AEW confirmed. With TNT's parent company Warner Media reportedly making it clear that they didn't want the Briscoes in AEW at the time. At one point, it looked like the match wouldn't happen at all. The Supercard pay-per-view could be Khan's way of tying up ROH's loose ends from its hiatus, while also getting the championship belts on his guys, like FTR winning the tag belts to get rid of the Briscoes. It also seemingly means the end of ROH's long-term creative run under Delirious, who has been the promotion's head booker since 2010. Fightful writes he's contracted through Supercard of Honor, but then he'll no longer be committed to the company, which is presumably why some of ROH's pre-Khan plans for the show are in jeopardy. As Fightful is also reporting, Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux were set for the Supercard show and had had talks with Delirious about the appearance, but when the regime changed, they'd not heard back. It's going to be a hell of a wrestling weekend, with Supercard of Honor and the WWE Hall of Fame on Friday, NXT TakeOver and WrestleMania Night 1 on the Saturday, WrestleMania Night 2 on the Sunday, and apparently the return of actually good Raws after Mania on the Monday. There's talk that this year's Raw after Mania will be booked like it has done in the annual show's heyday, with big surprises and returns on the show. We can already speculate at Cody Rhodes, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Gable Stevenson, as well as any number of NXT call-ups like hot young prospect Dolph Ziggler, but they all fall in the path of one man's coming, Veer. After officially announcing his main roster pre-debut following almost 6 months of hype, Veer himself has posted, "Dedicated to the optimistic and positive of my fans that kept their fists raised high in support. I heard you. Yeah, the man is coming. He always was. I'm clearing that path ahead. Don't stand in the way. Better yet, please try. Just try and stand in the way of this man coming. He's been building up so long, he's clearing a path." Veer is Cody's first proper WWE feud confirmed. Now relive Scott Hall's 10 best Razor Ramon moments and matches.
Once more with feeling, hey yo. It would have been hard to start this list with anything but a Scott Hall impression. Despite spending his career running alongside stars like Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall became one of wrestling's most memorable and quotable characters. Razor Ramon was a pretty spot-on gimmick and was a major part of a pretty damn successful career.